Episode 22. The voice of the other spy was unfamiliar to Han Li. He must have never met this person before. But judging by the voice, the person sounded young, probably in their 20s. But Han Li, playing it safe, didn't dare risk a peek. Han Li finally returned to his quarters, long after dinner had ended. As usual, Dr. Mo didn't even spare a glance at Han Li's mysterious return. Apart from delivering the prepared medicine, he gave Han Li complete free rein in all his actions. If not for the fact that the medicine Dr. Mo sent was concocted from the rare herbs he'd gathered on his last trip down the mountain, Han Li would have thought the man had given up on him and was preparing some other sinister scheme. Han Li had no regard for the so-called precious medicine Dr. Mo sent, but to avoid raising suspicion, he would still hold his nose and swallow it down. He wasn't afraid the medicine was poisoned. Harming him now would only be harming themselves. On his way back, Han Li had already devised a perfect plan for dealing with the wild Wolfgang spy he'd encountered on the road.
I don't have deep feelings for the Seven Mysteries sect, but I am still half an inner disciple. Since I'm the one who discovered the threat to the Seven Mysteries sect, I can't just ignore it. What's more, I've thought of the perfect person to handle this for me. Li Feiyu, senior brother Li.
According to Han Li's observation, perhaps due to consuming the marrow extraction pill, Li Feiyu's thirst for fame and fortune was far greater than the average person's. He had always dreamed of rising to the upper echelons of the Seven Mysteries sect, of becoming the center of everyone's attention.
He probably wants to go out in a final blaze of glory to make his last moments as wild and spectacular as possible. Now that I'm delivering such a major accomplishment right to his doorstep, I'm sure he'll be over the moon. This should settle the big debt I owe him for getting the sword manual.
The mere thought of the blinking sword manual sent a surge of excitement through Han Li. The techniques recorded in these manuals are truly different from ordinary martial arts. To Han Li, it was less a sword technique and more of a sword skill. It was a complete assassination art, synthesizing timing, terrain, and human factors, a rare and pure killing technique where the sword's draw meant instant death. He taught his students to use every blade of grass and tree in the terrain, every subtle shift in light and shadow, to create visual illusions for their opponent. In that instant, they would seize the enemy's weakness, see through their flaw, and strike them down in a single decisive moment. Therefore, only those with extraordinary senses have any hope of mastering this secret technique. But there's an even more stringent condition. The practitioner must not possess pure internal energy. Otherwise, it will clash with the techniques of channeling force and magic power, making cultivation incredibly difficult. Even if one miraculously passes the initial hurdle, in actual combat, their internal energy would become too rampant. Their sword techniques would subtly warp without them realizing, leaving glaring openings for their opponent and inviting a fatal disaster. Such a requirement essentially dashes the cultivation hopes of the vast majority. After all, the martial world has a saying, practice the fist but not the foundation, and in the end you'll have nothing. Furthermore, each manual essentially represents a single sword technique, and each technique is broken down into hundreds of sub-movements. Each sub-movement then requires mastering a variety of different applications, depending on the specific environment and the precise timing of its execution. The sheer number of sword techniques was staggering. Just looking at them was enough to give anyone a headache, let alone trying to master them all, memorize every detail, and then put them into practice through personal insight. And so, as time passed, the entire Seven Mysteries sect gradually lost interest in this sword technique, convinced that no one could ever master this martial art. This martial art was probably just a random fabrication by that elder on his deathbed. Otherwise, how could its cultivation requirements be so utterly absurd? This was clearly designed to trip up any disciple who didn't know his true nature. And so, these manuals were left to gather dust on the highest shelves, forgotten by all. Han Li lit an oil lamp in the room, leaned over the wooden table, and continued flipping through the manuals one by one in the dim light. He had no intention of actually copying the manuals. Instead, he planned to rely on his exceptional memory to commit every word to memory. This way, it's safe, secure, and there's no risk of the information leaking out. After all, he still maintained a high level of vigilance toward Dr. Mo. He wasn't foolish enough to think the man wasn't watching him at all. If all those secret manuals were just lying around in the room, wouldn't that give the whole game away? This would only make Dr. Mo wary of him ahead of time. The lamp's orange flame gave a soft pop, blooming into a tiny flower of light, reminding Han Li that much time had passed and he should get some rest. But Han Li paid it no mind. He was completely immersed in the world of the manual, his entire focus captivated by its bizarre techniques. As the lamp wicks crackled one after another, the shadows cast on the wall flickered wildly. Yet Han Li remained seated, utterly motionless. This stark contrast between motion and stillness created an eerie yet strangely harmonious sensation for any onlooker. Time flowed on. The shadow behind Han Li shifted from sharp clarity to a hazy blur, then slowly faded away to nothing. Outside, the sky was already bright. Han Li had unwittingly read through the entire night. With a soft pop, the last large lampwick burst, and the oil lamp flickered out completely. Han Li finally snapped out of it. He glanced at the spent oil lamp, then at the bright light outside his window, and, a bitter laugh rose in his heart.
I never thought I'd become so obsessed with studying the art of killing.
Han Li reflected for a good while before finally standing up. He stretched his neck, worked his limbs, then turned and pushed the door open to step outside. From a nearby deep well, he drew a basin of cool water and gave his face a thorough wash. Once he was fully awake, he circulated the eternal spring arts, letting it course through his body. In an instant, the weariness of the entire night vanished without a trace.
To truly master this martial art, you can forget about it without a solid decade of grueling practice. Even with my exceptional talent in this area, it would still take at least 2 or 3 years to achieve even a modest level of mastery. But time waits for no one.
Han Li didn't have that kind of time to wait. In 4 or 5 months at most, Dr. Mo would force a final confrontation. He had to gain some ability to protect himself before then. So he decided to focus on just a few of the simpler, more practical secret techniques, the ones he could master quickly and use immediately. The rest could wait until he'd actually escaped the tiger's jaws. Han Li knew full well that even if he mastered every single one of these secret techniques, he still might not be a match for Dr. Mo.
If Dr. Mo wasn't lying last time, given his former status as a regional overlord, who knows how many vicious and ruthless tricks he held back during our last clash. The skills he showed us, they probably weren't even half of his true power.
The mere thought of that ghostly speed sent a chill through Han Li's heart, leaving him utterly terrified of Dr. Mo.
In such a short time, what I can learn is limited. The threat I pose to Dr. Mo is negligible, almost non-existent. But I will never just surrender and let myself be controlled. If I fight him again, my only chance is to use his contempt for me. Only if he's careless, only if he underestimates me can I catch him off guard. That's the only way I'll have a sliver of hope.
In the days that followed, Han Li committed the entire Blinking Sword manual to memory. He selected several secret techniques useful for his current situation and began to study them, searching for a path to rapid cultivation. After racking his brains for several days, he managed to compile a complete cultivation method from the texts. He was quite pleased with his own efficiency, having completed such a tedious task in such a short time. Over the next half-month, Han Li methodically took care of all his loose ends, ensuring he was fully prepared and leaving no unfinished business behind. First, he returned the secret manual to Li Feiyu one day, completely untouched. Then, he told him about running into the Wild Wolf Gang spy, and also revealed how he'd seen through the kitchen steward's identity. Upon hearing this, Li Feiyu was both shocked and delighted. He threw an arm around his shoulder and said,
"You're a true brother handing me such a great achievement. I'm deeply moved."
But what Li Feiyu didn't know was that Han Li was currently busy trying to save his own skin. He had no mind to go chasing spies. Why wouldn't he be happy to do it? It was a favor that cost him no effort at all.